In the world of luxury cars, no name carries as much weight as that of Rolls-Royce. Lurking in the shadow of Rolls is another name, Bentley. Originally a separate company, but bought out in 1931, Bentley is mainly known for selling sportier versions of Rolls-Royce cars. But now, for the first time in 40 years, Bentley has a car it can call its own, the Continental R. And with it, Bentley is finally stepping out of the Rolls-Royce shadow.
The car may be new, but the name is not. The R-Type Continental actually appeared for the first time in 1952. It was a limited edition coupe built to evoke the legendary racing Bentleys of the 20s and 30s. The name was resurrected in 1992 to grace this car, and what a car it is. Unlike the modern trend towards bold styling, the Continental R doesn't reveal all of its character in a mere glance. At first, the styling appears upright and formal. But look closer, and you realize that the design is dominated by many subtle curves. You notice the rakish windshield, the hint of a spoiler at the rear, and how the normally stodgy upright grille is tilted back slightly to cheat the wind. Like a fine work of art, the lines must be studied to be fully appreciated. Inside, Bentley designers didn't stray far from tradition. The cabin has ample room for 4 very pampered adults. Leather and woodwork are everywhere. Every stitch is perfect. Every grain is polished bright. It's a traditional, straightforward design, and it still works for Bentley. The same can also be said for the engine. This 6.75-liter turbocharged pushrod V8 has been around since 1982. A power increase is rumored for next year, but tight-lipped company officials still won't mention any numbers. Current estimates peg horsepower at 320 and torque at around 480. Whatever the numbers, the Bentley Continental R will move down the road with authority. Despite its 5,340 pounds, acceleration from 0 to 60 takes only 6.6 seconds. The new 4-speed automatic gearbox has both standard and sport mode and gives some of the cleanest shifts we've experienced. Handling is surprisingly good for such a hefty machine. The hydraulic self-leveling suspension adjusts to match any driving condition. Bumps are barely noticed, and noise is almost non-existent. In all situations, the Bentley Continental R carries itself and its passengers with dignity and composure. As well it should, with a price tag of $269,600. And believe it or not, the next 2 years' production is already spoken for. Bentley's other new car also revives an old name. The normally aspirated 4-door Brooklands is named after the old Brooklands Motor Circuit, the world's first banked racetrack. At $138,500, the Brooklands can be called the entry-level Bentley. It is based on and replaces the 8 and Mulsanne model. New features include a seamless aluminum hood, revised air dam and grille, and distinctive alloy wheels. Extensive use of body-colored moldings gives the car a cleaner, modern look. The Brooklands represents a true alternative to the likes of Mercedes' new S-Class sedans by offering comparable levels of quality and safety, as well as the luxury and exclusivity associated with the Bentley name. Both the Continental R and Brooklands are benchmarks by which other ultra-luxury cars are measured. Those that can't afford them are indeed fortunate. As for the rest of us, well, there's always the lottery.
The cars of Rolls-Royce and Bentley have long been known for the painstaking care put into building them. Henry Royce's philosophy, accept nothing nearly right or good enough, is still very much in evidence today at the Rolls-Royce factory. While in England recently, our crew had a chance to witness these craftsmen at work. So come along with us and see what Rolls-Royce is really all about. Travel through northern England and you see a place forgotten by the march of time. Warwick Castle, Shakespeare's Theater, Sunday afternoon fishermen. They all exist pretty much as they did hundreds of years ago. Step through the gates of Rolls-Royce motor cars and crew, and you get the same sort of feeling. Here time stands still. For Some car plants churn out hundreds of units a day. Here it can take months for a single model to be completed. But in order to achieve the level of quality Rolls-Royce is famous for, each step in the manufacturing process is necessarily time-consuming. Take the interior, for example. 260 square feet of leather are used to cover virtually every surface inside the car. And every square inch of that is inspected, measured, and cut by hand. Craftsmen then hand-stitch each component. And what's not covered by leather is probably made of wood. With a skill and attention to detail unrivaled by the finest furniture makers, this small group of craftsmen had our crew shaking their heads in admiration. The amount of sanding and polishing that goes on here would make Bob Vila hunt for a new line of work. But it's all in a day's work for Rolls-Royce. It's always fun when touring through a factory to seek out the little things that show the spirit of pride and dedication to doing the job right. But at Rolls-Royce, these indicators are everywhere. We even found one gentleman testing each ignition switch to make sure it had the proper click when the key was turned. In another part of the factory, workers spend hours sweetening the bare body shells as they arrive from the coach builder, tapping out a slight ripple or grinding away any rough edges. And only a handful of men are capable of making the famous Rolls-Royce radiator shell. Measuring with only their eyes and soldering by hand, it takes a full day to craft one. Then comes the finishing touch, placing his initials on the back of every one. It's touches like that that lend charm to every Rolls-Royce automobile. But charm alone doesn't sell cars, and the company has struggled in the market recently as even the ultra-wealthy are placing a higher consideration on value. Some areas of production have been modernized, and of course, jobs have been eliminated. But change happens slowly at Rolls-Royce. When asked about the modernization process, one representative stated that electricity had finally been introduced to the factory. And while he was kidding, that type of philosophy is not far from the truth. Here you're more likely to be stampeded by a pack of bicycles than run over by a wayward robot. Rolls-Royce doesn't want to have to concern itself with modern production methods or streamlined operations. It's a company that just wants to build cars the old-fashioned way. And in this fast-paced automotive world, that's a rare thing indeed.